This is what nationality you should date. According to your zodiac, we all know that certain signs of the zodiac are better suited to each other than they are to other signs. But did you know that your sign can also be the perfect match for a foreign nationality? Generally speaking, of course, different cultures carry with them a whole range of attitudes, beliefs, tendencies, and dating practices. While some of these might be a dream for your sign, others won't align too well with you at all. The trick is to date someone from a country whose general traits fit in with your zodiac. If you're an Aries or Leo, you probably won't find love with somebody from a hugely conservative and introverted culture. If you're a Sagittarius or an Aquarius, you're better off with somebody who doesn't like to control you and holds you down too tightly, so the less old school and traditional the culture, the better. And if you're a more sensitive sign, you want to date somebody from a country that encourages emotion and passion. So which nationality should you date based on your sign? It's time to find out. Aquarius and the forward-thinking Danish Denmark is where it's at for you Aquarius ladies. You are quite an open-minded and expressive person, and you don't like to be controlled. As soon as somebody starts trying to claim you, impose restrictions and rules on you, and request commitment from you before you're ready, you take off in the other direction as quickly as you can. So it makes sense that you'll be happiest with another laid-back culture that isn't going to try and figuratively tie your hands together. Danish people have a reputation for being very forward-thinking, and like some other European nations, are big on the gender equality thing. There are a few societal standards when it comes to dating, marriage or intimacy, so you won't find yourself stuck in a relationship with someone who has to do everything a certain way. You will be free to make your own rules, ride the wave, and see what works for you. Danish parents don't usually get involved in relationships, which is a good thing since that would be totally suffocating for you. Everything is low-key in this sort of relationship, and you're free to be yourself. Aries and the equal Dutch. If you're an Aries gal, you should definitely give a Dutch person a try. Basically, your sign makes you incredibly strong and independent, so you don't want to get caught up with someone who's likely to be intimidated by that. You need someone who will treat you as an equal, rather than as a delicate petal to be protected. The culture in the Netherlands totally aligns with this sort of thinking, because gender equality is ingrained into society. Undoubtedly, you've heard the term going Dutch as a reference to splitting the bill on a date, and that's because it's the norm over there. You're a lot less likely to find somebody who pays for you when you go out, holds all your doors open, and walks on the street side of the sidewalk over in the Netherlands, because they tend to favor equality over traditional thinking. That is no problem for someone as strong-minded and bold as you. You like to lead, and while some men are turned off when women pursue them, Dutch men usually aren't. You are equals, after all. Cancer and the sensitive Filipino. As a Cancer, you are just about as sensitive as they come. You're very in tune with your emotions, and though you try to hide them from the world, they will always overpower you and end up leading you in a lot of situations. What can we say? You wear your heart on your sleeve, and you give it all, which is a beautiful thing. It can also mean that you're quite vulnerable when it comes to relationships, so you're better off dating somebody from a culture that celebrates emotion and is known to be sweet and sensitive. Filipinos have garnered a lot of international attention for being one of the most sensitive nationalities in the world, so it's like a match ordained by the stars. A Filipino partner will understand your emotions and won't try to stop you from expressing them. They can also be very thoughtful and will have no problem with romantic gestures like serenading you. Respect is always at the front of their minds, and they tend to come from big families, which you will love. You'll be able to nurture and care for them, and you. Cancer and family-oriented Greek. As we've mentioned, family is important to you. Family is important in a lot of cultures, but one of the most family-centered is Greek, and no, we're not just basing that on my big fat Greek wedding. Being partners with a Greek, you'll basically have a family event to attend every weekend, and no part of your life will ever be only yours again. That might sound overbearing, but between every member of your partner's huge, loving family, there will always be support, advice, humor, and love. And yes, there will always be food. Not every sign would find this situation ideal, but it is a Cancer's dream. Capricorn and the strapping English. A strapping Brit is the perfect match for a Capricorn. More than anything, you are a reserved person and like to see a similar demeanor in those you become close to. You'll soon tire of a person who's overly loud, and you much prefer someone who's a little quieter and who can offer some deep conversation. That's the English. They have a reputation for being introverted, careful, and reserved in their social interactions, making them your ideal nationality. You don't care much for small talk and would much prefer having a significant, intellectual conversation with a person who's going to be open and honest. When they feel comfortable enough with someone, the English do tend to open up, so you might just find a strong bond forming between you after a few dates. English people definitely don't do public affection, and neither do you. They tend to think it's tacky when people discuss their wealth and achievements, and so do you. It's a common dating practice in England for both parties to share the bill, and you have no problem with that considering you're very good at managing your cash. Gemini and the passionate Mexican. The most important trait that you need to see in your partner, if you're a Gemini, is enthusiasm. You are one of the most positive and energetic signs and won't suit somebody who's from a culture that is known to be quieter and more reserved. Rather, your ideal lover is wildly passionate and can always keep you interested and entertained with their antics. That's why dating a Mexican is what you need in your life. Like many people from Central and South American cultures, Mexicans are usually very passionate and filled with a zest for life. They love dancing, drinking, partying, having new experiences, and most importantly, talking. You love to talk, perhaps more than anything in the world, and with a Mexican partner, you can stay up all night until your chatterbox hearts are content. We should also mention that your creative flair gives you a soft spot for really good food, and you love getting the opportunity to immerse yourself in a colorful culture with fiery dishes. Need we say more? Get yourself a Mexican, talk the night away about everything, and throw down some mouth-watering national dishes. Leo and the fun Scott. Leo ladies, you need a partner who's as strong and hot as you are. The person you end up with should be social and extroverted to keep up with you, and always in the mood for a party. You won't be impressed by a more sensitive or quiet person and would hit it off with somebody who can tell as many jokes as you and who's equally charismatic. In other words, go and get yourself a Scott. The men, in particular, are known for being courageous and manly. No, we're not just thinking of Braveheart, and that's the sort of thing that tends to impress you. The last C's up there are also made of tough stuff, so you won't feel out of place or awkward about being your loud, unshakable self. Scottish people are known for having a sense of humor, can laugh at themselves in particular, and know how to really have fun, which totally works for you. Your idea of a good date is party hopping and hitting the town, and they will definitely be down for the ride. Libra and the romantic Italian. Italians have a reputation for being one of the great romantic nationalities in the world, but we think that they are suited to one sign more than any other, and that's Libra. As a Libra, you are very diplomatic and balanced, but you need someone passionate. It's not a preference, really, it's a necessity. You're a closeted romantic and love the idea of public displays of affection. If there's one thing an Italian can do better than anybody else, it's PDAs. Your Italian partner will present you with flowers, cuddle and touch you in restaurants. Seriously, you might have to get them to tone it down, and will always make you feel special. It won't be a situation where you have to ask them what your relationship is or where you're going, because they're the type to tell you whenever they feel the urge. You want passion, and they'll give you passion. That's really the bottom line. Italians also tend to place a high importance on how they look, and, let's face it, you don't mind dating someone who wears designer sunglasses. Libra and the charming Irish. Another culture that is all about romance is Irish. We're sorry to stereotype, but we're pretty sure Irish people are physically unable to stop being charming. It's just the accent. You live for gorgeous accents and people who can show you a bit of old-school charm, so there's no reason why you couldn't find happiness with an Irish person. If you're lucky enough to ever visit the country, you'll be overwhelmed by the beautiful sights and probably end up in love with the land as well as your partner. Ireland was also recently revealed to be one of the countries with the highest tolerance, and you definitely appreciate those who can be diplomatic like you. Pisces will find fireworks with the French. There are a few things that a Pisces absolutely needs from their partner. Being an artistic and creative sign, Pisces requires passion. You don't want a black and white date, and you don't get into relationships for convenience. It's all about energy and chemistry for you. You also require there to be very few rules and restrictions placed on you, because you need the space to dream and bring your own ideas to life without being influenced by the needs of somebody else. Finally, you want someone who's honest, because you don't do fake or superficial in any way. Where does that leave us? With the French, of course. It's a given that you're going to find passion and fireworks in a relationship with a French person. They are another of the world's nations known for their ability to romance and make you swoon. They're also not the type to follow regimented lifestyles and strict rules, and the dating culture in France is very relaxed and determined by feelings, which is how you roll. And for the French, honesty is the way to go. The stars have spoken and want you to get the next ticket to Paris. Sagittarius and the easygoing Australian. A Sagittarius should look no further than an Aussie to make all their dreams come true. There are lots of reasons why Australians make great partners for Sagittarius, and the most obvious one is their laid-back attitude. If you're a Sagittarius, you know already that you don't want to be with someone overly intense who tries to control everything that you do. You really need someone who's going to give you your own space and let you go and do what you need to do. The Australian culture is one of the most easygoing in the world, so your Aussie partner is likely to let you do whatever you need to do without hammering you with questions or insecure demands. You definitely won't be controlled in any way or pinned down and trapped. Australians are also known for their love of travel, and you happen to be the sign with the biggest case of wanderlust ever. You and your Aussie lover would easily find happiness traveling the world together, and to be honest, you would get enough joy merely from heading down under to catch up with them. Scorpio and the too honest Israeli. Honesty will always be the most important aspect of any relationship that involves a Scorpio. You don't do lies, even when they're nice, white lies crafted to spare your feelings. You would always prefer somebody to tell it to you like it is, because your life goal is to dig out the truth anyway, so there's no point in delaying it. You will find out. That's why an Israeli would be perfect for you. Generally, people from Israel are brutally honest in relationships, not afraid to tell you when you're not looking so good or when something is bothering them. This might be too confrontational for other signs, but you crave such morality. Israelis are also known to have huge hearts thanks to their lifestyle and culture. Spending the required time in the army usually leaves them with a rounded perspective on the world, a hardened skin, and a life's too short attitude. Those are all things that you really appreciate in a partner. In addition to being full of love, Israelis tend to be very deep thinkers who will offer you conversation about topics beyond the weather. Taurus and the chilled-out Canadian Taurus ladies should think about getting to know our neighbors to the north a little better. One of the most social signs, Taurus is in her prime when everything is running smoothly. You're not the sort of person who needs constant fireworks and action to stay happy in a relationship, and actually prefers it when the drama is kept to a minimum. What you really need is someone who is going to be as easy to date and laid back as you are. Canadians are known for being chilled out, and the men, in particular, aren't the type to pursue you aggressively, play mind games for attention, and all that other stuff that you just cannot be bothered with. The culture in Canada is social and open-minded, so you'll probably find that you'll have lots in common with the Canadian Bay, and it will be easy enough to meet in the middle where you don't. Why else would a Canadian be perfect for you? They're known for being friendly, polite, and politically correct, and all that agreeableness just makes you weak at the knees. Virgo is a match for the Japanese. There are endless reasons why Japanese culture seems like it was created for Virgo. For starters, the Japanese are known for placing a high emphasis on cleanliness and personal hygiene, and the one thing a Virgo can't stand in a partner is the lack of those things. Dating someone from Japan, it's very unlikely that you'll be faced with bad breath, greasy hair, and all those other things that make you gag. Japanese people place a great deal of importance on being punctual and displaying proper etiquette, and we all know that conscientious is Virgo's middle name. Your date will never be late or disorganized, nor will they be rude and obnoxious. We know that is making you really excited, even if you won't admit it, because you're a Virgo. Another thing about Japanese dating is that it's a slow process, and as a Virgo, you like to take your time and make sure you're doing everything efficiently, so you end up with perfection. The relationship won't be rushed, and your Japanese partner is also unlikely to show affection to you in public, so you don't have to worry about telling them not to in the first place. Virgo would love a German man. If you're a Virgo, you should also think about shacking up with a German. For one thing, Germans are known to be quite organized and regimented compared to a lot of other Europeans. This suits you very well. Things in Germany can get messy around October, but you don't mind letting loose from time to time. You wouldn't cope with dating somebody who parties every night of the week, but a casual Oktoberfest celebration should go down a treat. Learning a new language would be no problem for you since languages happen to be your specialty, but a lot of Germans speak English anyway. Germany is a country with a fascinating history, and its cities are filled with museums. As a Virgo, this is right up your alley.